Hello my senior friends, welcome back to our discussion on cultural studies, politics in India today. So we have seen half a dozen points. Remember we identified about 16 points and now we have already done half a dozen points. To begin with the first one, the Journal of Arts and Ideas is a leftist initiative. The second one, again a leftist initiative, that is the IPTA, Indian People's Theatre Association, and also Indian Renaissance. And the third point we have seen is that Nehruvian initiatives, that's Nehru, misunderstood as hegemony, but it was meant for national consolidation. And the fourth one we saw that the Indian popular cinema very created a tremendous impact, isn't it, on cultural studies and politics both. And fifth one we saw TV programs, yes, TV. With political overtones. We can say propagandist. So propaganda type. So the telecasting of epics and so on we have seen. And the sixth is visual arts, that is painting, corporathetics, we say, corporathetics and compressed performances. That means the living darshan. See, the political leaders standing like these gods and other people, they are going and having a darshan, exchange of glance like gods and the devotees. Okay, so these things have impact on cultural studies and also politics, right? Now, today we will discuss two more points. That is the seventh one, English literature studies. English literature studies. English literature studies. So that is the seventh one we will discuss. As you know, English literature studies it has got a vast institutional base, schools, colleges, nursery school, LKG, UKG, and then you have got universities, right? But nobody ever questions the relevance of English or why should we have a thing called Indian English. Nobody questions. The first ever question, or you can say serious thinking on this was done by Gauri Vishwanathan and her book Masks of Conquest, Literary Study and British Rule in India. Literary study and British rule in India. So Gauri Vishwanathan's English studies and British rule in India, isn't it? English study. Isn't it? English study or studies? It's singular or plural? Study, yes. English study and British rule in India. So some relevant questions were asked about that, and then you can also see that there are things like rethinking English. That is an anthology by that is famous writer. We know that essays Joshi. Yes, Joshi. Rethinking English essays in literature, language, and history. That's the thing. So this is first book. Then the second one is an anthology, Rethinking English, essays in literature, language and history. Reading, that is by Joshi. Rethinking English essays in literature, language and history. Then another we have got another anthology by Rajan, that is we call nowadays the Lie of the Land. The Lie of the Land, English Literary Studies in India. That's the third. Anthropology. The lie of the land. English literary studies in India. So these are, you can say, landmarks in this area. These two, these are anthologies, and this is a book written by Gauri Viswanathan. Now when Gauri Viswanathan first published this book, that is 1989, yes, 1989, it was a very feeble voice, nobody bothered about it. People say many things now. But then post-colonial authors, we have got great post-colonial authors like Baba, then we have Said and Spivak, yes. And when they started thinking about this and speaking about this, serious approach was made on this question of Indian English. Should we have an English called Indian English? Then the insularity of Indian English literature, the pedagogy, the political aspects of pedagogy and its teaching methods. And again we have got the burden of English. Such issues were seriously discussed. That's the thing. Understand that? So should we have an Indian English? Should we have is it a burden? Should children be taught English right from LKG? See, blocking their capacity for concept formation. Such kinds of things where the people started thinking seriously about it. Understand? Another interesting thing that we find is this, that we are not denying that the English and the English education is anything harmful to us, no. But to a certain extent, in what way it helped us, in what way it stood as an obstacle, such things were seriously thought about. That's the thing. And then you can also see that there is a trend now, people doing English literature. See, they themselves are now becoming self-proclaimed scholars of cultural studies. And then they use English, see, to question English. That is, the empire is striking back. That kind of approach or trend we can see now in academic circles. Those who are trained in English literature, they are using English to in a way, assault English. Can we say that will be too strong a word, no? So means they are trying to find out the pros and cons of introducing or studying English literature and the formation of Indian English. And this of course has got an impact or a bearing on cultural studies as well as politics in India. Understand? And now the 8th point, I think I have written these things, no? The 8th point, so in a way we can say that these scholars, they are challenging the discipline of English literature studies, challenging. And that challenge has got bearings on, so it has got relevance on cultural studies and politics in India. Now the 8th point is manners and mores. Manners and mores. So how they have manners and mores and how they have influenced culture as well as politics in India. But before that you can see there were some tendencies in cultural studies. That the first one is, you see there is a tendency for demanding an authentic self-description. An authentic self-description. That means we should not depend on what other people say about us. So we should find our own way of studying our culture. That's the thing. Self-description. And an epistemology means theory of knowledge. epistemology of third world nativism. Third world nativism. Same thing again. So we should have our own epistemology. Understand? And also another trend you find is they are criticizing, those who are doing cultural studies in India, they are criticizing the West. Because the West is focusing on trivial things like hairstyle, fashion, Star Trek, and TV, and rap, and such kind of things. So these are tendencies that you find in cultural studies these days. Understand? A criticism of the West, a criticism of the Western attitude. These are tendencies that we find in cultural studies. Attitude. Tendencies that we find. Okay. So before we reach manners and mores, importance of manners and mores, we find such tendencies. Like we must have our own self-description, our own study, we must have our own theory of knowledge, and we are not satisfied with the West because they are doing cultural studies at the surface level, not what you call serious about cultural studies. That's what these people say, because they are studying trivia. Trivia means silly, trifling things like that, like popular music. These are the things. Now, when you come to manners and mores, it's a very important part of this essay, manners and mores. It takes, I think, 3 or 4 pages. So, there, what you find is manners and mores were once central to politics. That's the thing. That's the first point to note. These were central to politics. What is central to politics means? So there is the content of politics. Once manners and mores, they were the content of politics. Understand? Then what happened is, after the arrival of Kant and his followers on the philosophical scene, Kant said, manners and mores, that cannot be considered as the content of politics. Politics should be based on, what he said, abstract speculation and then pure reason. That's what he said. Abstract speculation, speculation means thinking, abstract thinking and pure reason. Pure reason. That's what Kant said. Kant and his followers. Kant, the philosopher Kant. That's his opinion. So what happened? Manners and mores, which were once central to politics, they were thrown out from the area of politics. From the realm of politics, they were thrown out. Get out, you can say. Like sometimes teachers ask mischievous students, no, you get out. So manners and mores, they had to remain outside. So what to do? When a boy is sent out from the class during the class time, what will he do? He will sometimes stay in the veranda, isn't it? And then he will look around. Is there somebody? And if he finds some other people willing to take him, he will go with them. Isn't it? Exactly like that, something like that what happened here. So manners and mores, once central to politics, then Kant came with the idea that no, they are not, they are just what you call ornaments and embellishments. They said. Manners and mores, they are ornaments, just ornaments. Ornaments and embellishments. Embellishments. That's what they said. It's a thing. It's not a core. It's only something that you see outside, surface. Understand? And therefore, what happened is that they lost their position. And they were waiting outside, manners and mores. And then suddenly something happened, something very interesting happened. On the scene appeared Raymond Williams. Raymond Williams. You know who is Raymond Williams, isn't it? He was the one who declared culture is ordinary. Yes. And he said he made 2 main contributions to cultural studies. One is Anthropologization. Anthropologization. That's what it said. Anthropologization. The stress is on this. Anthropologization. Anthropologization. Because it's a big word now. So you cannot say anthropologization. You cannot say that. So the stress takes you forward. It's an energy now. So anthropologization. See, and then democratization. Democratization. So these are two contributions. Anthropologization means way of life. That's all. It's way of life. Way of life. Any way of life, signifying practices, anything. That is anthropologization means. Democratization means inclusive, all inclusive. Whatever you do is culture. Culture is ordinary, he said. Culture is ordinary. Why does he say like culture is ordinary? Before that there was a restrictive meaning. So by saying this culture, declaring these two aspects of culture. First it is anthropological and second it is democratic. By saying this, what has he done? He has broadened the semantic content. Semantic content. That simply, in simple English it means meaning. Meaning. If we say semantic content means meaning. Meaning of the word culture has been enhanced. See, included. Why? What is the context there? That is because once upon a time, that is at the time of Mathew, BASELIUS, then before that Coleridge, and after that you have T.S. Eliot. All these great authors, critics and poets, what did they say? No? Culture means that what is that which is best is the thing. Listen, thought and self. What is the best? That is thought and self. The best that is thought and self. All the other is excluded. Did you get that meaning? So there is narrow meaning there. At the time of Mathew and the T.S. Eliot and their followers, and before that Coleridge, this culture had a very narrow meaning. That narrow meaning is that which is thought and the best that is thought and self. See, that will elevate a person to sublime, an area of sublimity. But 18th century, this Raymond Williams and working class journalists, Richard Hogarth, A.B. Thompson, they said that culture is ordinary. This is culture. They would say like that. And even breathing is culture. Now, writing and publishing a book is culture. If building a house is culture. Your eating habits is culture. So there is democratization. Understand? Now, by this approach, the semantic content of culture that was enhanced, or you can say it was made wider. As a result of this, what happened? These manners and mores which were standing outside, they got it. They got inside culture. Listen. So they became part of cultural studies. They became objects for or issues or topics for cultural studies. So manners and mores, which once they were in culture, then they were thrown out, then they came back. Understand? Then the question comes here, what is the content of manners and mores? In the West they say this. I'm going to clean this. I hope you have written the main points. In the West, manners and mores, for them, it is conduct of conduct. Conduct Verb means conduct of conduct. Now here same spelling, but this is verb and this is noun. This is noun. This is verb. Like object. OBJECT, OBJECT. So object verb. Object, if you have the stress here. Conduct, conduct here. Like this. Object, object. See, object is noun. So West, in the West culture meant conduct of conduct. Understand? And that involves what? Governmentality. Training. There should be somebody behind that to oversee this. So that means it is not what we can say organic. Understand? It is not organic development. It is something artificial. You have to give a training for that. See that? But that is not the view in the West, in the East or in India. India is totally different, that we will see in the next lesson. See that? So according to them, this is, and they have got the government, they have got police, they have got, that doesn't mean that we don't have these things. We also have all these things. Understand? Now in this case, conduct of conduct. So that it is some training program and things like that. So that was the idea there. But that is not the idea here in India. That's a different thing. Manners and morals. It has got a different meaning altogether, we can say. And you can also see even Bodhliya says about manners. He doesn't agree with this conduct of conduct. He says, what is manners? Manners mean affectations. Your special unnatural behavior is manners. Emulations, imitating other people. Idiosyncrasies, your peculiarities, lifestyles, distinctions, anachronisms. So something that is out of date. See that? This can be considered as what is called the manners and the morals. Anachronisms can be manners and morals. Lifestyle can be manners and morals. Understand? Emulations can be manners and morals. Suppose you imitate Westerners, you dress Westerners, or imitate the style of a film star, that is manners and morals come under that. Or you special affectation, special type of behavior. See that? Like a Malvolio in 12th night, isn't it? So that is affectations. Yes. So the distinctions, such kind of things, we can study under this subject or topic called what we said culture according to Bodhliya. So they are not to be, government cannot do anything. Suppose you have lifestyle, what can the government? You have a special idiosyncrasies, the government cannot do anything. So according to Bodhliya, culture does not come and should not come under the purview of the government, and governmental agencies are not supposed to train people in the conduct of conduct. That's what he said. As a Western view, one view only. But here the point here, what you have to note is this, that the manners and morals, once they were central to politics, after Kant they were thrown out. Then enter manners and politics, like Enter the Dragon, that's a film now, like that. Enter manners and politics in culture and cultural studies, in the arena of culture, in the realm of culture. That is because of the semantic broadening brought about by Raymond Williams and his other working class writers, and as like Richard Hogarth. How did this happen? This happened by anthropologization and democratization of culture, means including everything, significant practices and so on. Therefore, manners and morals again got into this realm of cultural studies, and the cultural studies in the West is different. It is conduct of conduct. That means it requires some agency, outside agency, But people like Baudelaire, they don't agree to that because according to them it is not, it is anything like affectations, emulations, or your idiosyncrasies, or your lifestyles, or your distinctions, or your anachronisms. All such things can be brought under the purview or under this area called culture. Understand? Up to that, and then what is the genealogy of culture in India? That you have to see. In Europe, as well in Western countries, it is what we must say training program and conducted by government and the church. So the church is a very powerful institution in the Western countries. Here also, to some extent we can say, but especially in Western countries. So you have got the church and the government and other institutions to help people to the formation of their right conduct. And also in the West, they thought that the manners and mores, they are civic virtues. Manners and mores makes a man a citizen. Listen, you come as you become soft by following manners and mores. That is the Western view. But what is the Indian view? We will see tomorrow. I hope that you are following me. So today we have done 2 more points. So now we have got how many points now? 8 points, isn't it? So first one is the journal of Arts and Ideas. Then IPTA. Then third is we have got Nehruvian. Fourth is popular Hindi films. Fifth is TV. And sixth is visual arts. And then he said, I just wanted to explain one more. That is what is meant by frontality and iconicity. Iconicity means symbolic character. Symbolic character. And then as I told you, when L.K. Advani was riding the Ratha, Toyota Riverland Ratha, the symbolic meaning of that is he is like an avatar, an incarnation. An incarnation who has come here to save Indians. That is. So that is the symbol iconicity. And this Ratha, the Toyota Ratha is like the golden chariot of the gods. So that is symbolic, we can say. Frontality means you must have prior knowledge about such avatars if you want to know the exact, or if you want to know, if you want to appreciate the character who was riding in that Ratha. Understand that? Only if you know, if you have prior knowledge about such a mythic character, you will be able to appreciate this, what is called the flesh and blood character here in front of you, riding this Ratha. So, frontality means you must have prior knowledge of mythic characters to understand the present situation. Now there is another example I can give you is Kathakali. The characters in the Kathakali, if you want to really appreciate them, you should have some prior knowledge about them. So you can say that is also frontality. Again, iconicity also. There is the Kathakali characters. They are symbolic characters. Then corporathetics is, I have already shown you, standing like this. Your body language. In front of your deity, you are the deity to whom you are dedicated, you stand like this. What will the deity do? The deity will bless you like this. That is body language of the devotee and the god or goddess who gives darshan to you. Now, these things you will find in politics also. I think that I have explained it in the correct way so that you understood it. If in case I have made a mistake in my explanation, I should definitely, in advance, I apologize. If you have got the right explanation, please bring your explanations tomorrow. Okay, till then, enjoy, have a nice time, relax, take it easy, and bye.